Hello students, in this video I'm going to show you how to assemble the automata, the metal automata. So let's start off. You are going to start off by inserting the base plate. And this one, you're just going to want to go to the green arrow and insert it. And that's going to insert it centered with the origin. All right, we're going to go ahead and fix this right away because we'll assemble everything relative to that. All right, let's start by inserting the 2x16 chassis rail. And we're going to put two of these guys. Okay, terrific. Now, these bottom holes are going to attach to the middle of the automata. So let me do that real quick. It's going to do a fasten mate. And we are going to zoom in quite a bit and see if you can get the, there we go. And then press the shift button and go right to the middle. Okay. I'm going to find out where the middle of this is, so I'm going to pause the video. Okay, we're going to want to put this in the 15th hole, so I'm going to find the 15th hole here. Okay, I fastened the 15th hole, and it's not quite facing the direction I want, so we're going to have to do probably the reorient and the flip until we get it basically the way we want, and that is the way we want right there. Folks, I actually want that on the 14th hole. My mistake. So move that one over. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So go ahead and fasten the chassis rail on the other side as well. Okay, so you should have two chassis rails inserted on both sides. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to insert the, where is it at? The 5x25 plate. So go ahead and put that in there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to rotate this around to help me orient it. So I'm just going to left click on this and I can see the arrow to turn this. And I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees. Rotate a little bit and then get it 90 degrees. You'll see it's the same orientation as that. And then I want to flip this so it looks vertical. I'm going to click out of it and I'm going to try to get right on the edge of this on that side, and I will rotate that 90 degrees as well. And now it looks vertical for me to insert it. Okay. I can drag this around. I'm going to look from two orientations to make sure it's kind of straight. I'm going to put it near the top somewhere here so I can attach it. All right, I'm going to go 4 holes up from the bottom, and I'm going to attach it on the 13th hole this way. So let's see if I can do that. I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to attach this one right here. Okay, so I'm going to, if I can just zoom in on that so I don't lose it, I'm going to go to Fasten Mate and press the Shift button to be able to access that. It should come up there. All right, as I told you guys, it is going to be on the 5th hole from the bottom. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zoom in on that one. Press the Shift button to get over there and put it right on there. Let's see what that looks like. It is basically inside the part. It is overlapping. So that's not good. All right, so what I'm going to do is maybe I can't tell. Let me see what it looks like. We're going to have it go that way. Let's click OK and see what it looks like. All right, it is inside the part. So I see what I need to do here. I'm going to delete it and put it on the outside. So delete that fasten. And we're going to have to go from the outside. Okay, so I'm going to move this up. Let's see, this one is right here. Let's move it over. Okay, so I'm going to go Fasten Mate here. Shift. Okay, now I need to go to the other side and put it right on this one. All right, now it's on the outside, and that's the way it's supposed to look. Click OK. At this point, go ahead and do the same with the other side. Insert another plate and fasten it on the other side. Once you got that on there, make sure it's aligned by going to the front view and making sure it's lined up with the back one. Notice this won't exactly be in the middle because there's 25 holes here, so it's kind of hard to put in the middle, but it should be okay and it's enough space for both people to work. All right, next thing we're going to insert is um, the 1 by 15 flat bar. Go ahead and put 4 of those in there. Actually, we'll just do 2. So yeah, we can leave those in there. Put 2 of them in there. We'll work on one side and other people can work on the other side. Okay, so this one is going to go 2 holes down. So we will just basically, we want to put this essentially right at the end of this one, going to the end, to the bottom, to the base plate. So we're going to do a fasten mate. You don't really need to turn this around if you can see it pretty well. Click on the surface, hit the shift button, and select that middle hole. Make sure it comes up there. All right, we're going to go to the front view, and I'm going to insert it basically right here. Hit the shift button, put it right there, and good to go. Make sure it's not overlapping, and it looks like it is. So I'll edit that one real quick. So go ahead and edit that one and flip the primary orientation axis. We're going to have to rotate it as well. And once it looks like that, you are good to go. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now we will insert the long chassis rail, and that is the 2 by 25. You will put 2 of those guys in there, so go ahead and do that. Put it to the side wherever it's convenient to you. And this one is going to go with this side right here, this flat side attached to this side right here. And we're going to go 3 down, okay? Now this roughly needs to be aligned in such a way that this end part goes to the end of that right there. All right, and it's going to go on the other side. All right, so I'm going to arrange it to make it easy for me to visualize where that is going. All right, so you got that right there. Okay, I'm going to move this one out of the way, and I'm going to bring this one up a little bit. I can see where, let's see, it is going to go right there on the second hole. So I can see how that lines up, and I'm going to go ahead and move that one up and do a fasten mate on that one right there. Use the shift button, get where you want to get, make sure it comes up, and then align it with this guy. Looks like it's going to be the second hole there. All right, let's see if it is where we want it to be. That looks pretty good. I think it might be inside the part right here. We are going to have to flip the primary axis, maybe reorient it. Actually, I made a mistake here. We're going to have to fasten it from the other side by mistake. So let's go ahead and do that again. So we're going to do that one right there. Okay, now you got to go from the other side, and that was my mistake here. This is attaching face to face that way. All right, let's take a look at that. Okay, that looks good. All right, click OK. Oops, messed that up. Go ahead and fix it. Move it one down so it attaches to that right there. Once you have that side done and looks good to you, go ahead and check to make sure it's all aligned right here. That should be lining up. Then go ahead and put the other side on. Once you have that on, verify everything is in the right spot. Make sure you count the holes. So count the number of holes here going to the middle, count the number of holes here. It's probably going to be different. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 on this side. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 on that side. And then count the holes here and count the holes there. You should have the same number of spacing. This doesn't fit exactly in the middle, so that is okay. Okay, now we're going to insert the flat plate going over the top. So click Insert. Let's find that flat plate. It is the 5 by 15 plate. All right, put that in there. Click OK. And let's orient this in such a way that it is flat. So I'm going to look at it from the right orientation. Get in close on the face. Rotate that face 90 degrees. Click OK. And then click out of it. We should be able to move it around. So I'm going to get in the front view. Get in various views to move it where you want. Notice that as you move it around, you'll see that it's kind of in various positions in space. So I'm going to kind of get it to where I want it to go. All right, it's going to sit on these two bars right here. So it'll be sitting something like that. But let's go ahead and move it up first. And we're going to place this where we think it is best. Oops, I didn't want that. Let's go. Now this is really up to you where you place it. I would move it to where you want to go because you're going to have your mechanisms flowing through here. But let's just take a guess and put it, let's say fourth one over for now. All right. So you're going to do the same process here as before, basically a flat fasten mate. And zoom in on that. Okay. And again, I don't make the same mistake I did twice. We need to sandwich this. So we need to get to this face right there is going into, and I said the fourth one. Sounds good, so we'll go here, get into that face, click the shift button, get to the middle, and see if it looks good to you, then click OK. Here's the view you should have so far. All right, now we're going to insert an axle going through here to rotate, and I'm going to put a bearing or a bushing through here so the axle can rotate across. So click on the insert, and we're going to find that bearing. Here it is. Okay. Let's put a couple out here. All right, because you're going to do one on one side and one on the other. Oops, I forgot to do that. You can click Restore up here if you ever forget that. And let's orient these in such a way that it is helpful for me. So they need to be flat. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. 90 degrees. Now you can insert it without orienting, and in fact, I recommend that. Why don't we try that? I think that's really good practice. All right, so I'm gonna basically put this somewhere in here. Let's say right in the middle of that, but below. So let's go down here. This one might be a little bit tricky to insert, but you're gonna do a fasten mate on this one. And let's see if we can get that circular area, which is right there. Okay, click OK on that. And I'm going to find this line right here. Let me look at it from that point, and I'm going to go, let's say, right here on that one. Okay, so click on the face, then Shift, and put it right there. Didn't quite work. Let's try it again. And let's see what it looks like. Does it look the way we want it to look like? All right, that's terrific. So you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So make sure you count the holes and put it in the same part. Okay, once that looks good to you, you have them both on the same side, both on opposite sides and facing in. We're going to insert the shaft. All right, so put the shaft in there and click OK. And we're going to insert the shaft right through there. Now there's one sort of sort of tricky way to do this. And so you want a revolute mate on this. So it is going to rotate. There's going to be some animation here. And I'm just going to go with the mate connector in the middle. Okay. And then I'm going to go with looking on the inside where the hole that it should be going around. All right, so you got that. However, you don't want it sticking out that way. So we're going to do an offset. And it looks like the Z direction is going in that direction, which is exactly what we want. And you're going to play around with this. I'm going to take a guess here and say 6. And I'm going to see how that looks. All right, not even close. So let's just go with 10. See what that looks like. 10 looks pretty good. So you can do 9. I mean, you could probably do 9.5. Let's see what 9 looks like. Looks like 10 is probably the best option. So go ahead and put 10 in there and click OK. Okay, what we should do next is insert 2 more bearings, one on each side. Make sure they're right next to each other. And we're going to insert another shaft right here. So I'll do that right now. For the shaft, once you insert it, make sure it is 4 holes over. You've done a revolute mate, and you're going to do an offset, just like before, of 10 inches. All right. Press enter. Make sure it looks the way you want it to look like, and then click OK. Right now, verify you have 2 shafts going in. They are 4 holes apart. It looks basically just like mine. All right, and we'll go on to the next step. At this point, you're going to insert a 12-tooth gear, and you're going to insert a 60-tooth gear. All right, we're going to make both of those axles spin. You could put the gears on either side. I will put them, let's say, on this side because it's easier for me to view. And so it doesn't matter which one you start with, but it depends which one you want to spin more. If this does 1 revolution, this is going to turn 5 times. And if this does 1 revolution, that's going to turn 1/5 because 60 divided by 12 is 5. So it depends which axle you want to spin faster or slower. The other option is you could put 236 axles and they would spin at the same rate. So you have the option to put in 2 of the 36 and that would be the same spacing and they'd spin at the same rate. So let's go ahead and do that. This is a fasten mate because the gear does not move relative to the axle. If the axle moves, so does the gear. So we are going to need to fasten this to the axle somehow. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do a fasten mate and let me get in this square right here, right in the middle. Okay, now I'm going to need to go to the axle and go all the way to the end of the axle and do a fasten mate right there. All right, so let's just click solve for now. You'll see that the axle is going to the end. However, we want the gear right here. So I'm going to need to measure that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to get out of this fasten. It automatically goes to that. And I'm going to use the measurement tool. Okay, and I'm going to measure from this plate. Okay, and then I'm going to go out and measure to the end of the axle or the plate right here, either face. Measure that, and that is basically 2 inches. If you highlight on one of the measurements, it could tell you various orientations, X, Y, and Z. If I highlight that, it'll show me the green line right here is going all the way through, all right? So what that tells me is that on this fasten mate, I can offset that by 2 inches, and it should go to the inside. So double click on that. We're going to do offset in the Y orientation, 2 inches. Wait, no. Look at this. It is the Z orientation in this case, and it's going to be -2 because the positive Z is coming out. So my mistake. Let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to put -2 right there. And make sure it looks okay. And then click all right. Okay. You will do the same thing. Now we're going to assume this is touching. In reality, you'll probably, when you build it, give a little bit of space here so it slides against. And I'll do the same thing with this one. This is a fasten mate because it's fastened into the axle. And so go ahead and do that. Put the middle on there. All right. And then you're going to go to the end of this axle. Click a fasten on that end right there. Okay. The square should align with the square. All right. I'm going to do an offset in the Z direction. This one's also going to be a -2. I can see based on here which way the positive Z is going. So this is going to be a -2 as well. Click OK, and you will see, oops, it's not touching. I was supposed to put this axle right here. So I'm going to move that over, and you should move it over too. And my mistake. But you know what I'll do? Let me pause the video and I'll figure this out here real quick. Okay, so I moved this over. I'll show you how to do that easily, and it wasn't all that hard. I'm going to go to the revolute mate of the axle. It was the second one I did. And let me just go back to show you how I did this. Edit that revolute mate. I'm going to edit it, right click on edit, and it looks like this is part one. It's highlighting in green. You can see it. And this is the other part. So I'm gonna edit that one. I'm gonna delete that one. Okay, this part is already highlighted, and I'm just going to go here and again use the shift button and go right there. Now you could click solve. Solve is going to move it over. That just shows you what you're mating. It ignores this for now. You click solve, but also the green button will just move it all over. All right, so that looks pretty good. What's a pretty good idea right now is let's see if you can rotate this. Okay, notice that the gear and the axle should rotate. They're fastened to each other. All right, and let me go to the next step here. All right, the next step is to animate these. So when one moves, the other one moves. And you can use this gear ratio right here, gear relation. And so I'm going to click on that. And the gear relation, you basically put two revolute mates in here. So we have two revolutes from the gear ratio. So I'm going to put this one and this one. Now the gear ratio is either going to be 1/5 or 5. Let's try putting 5. And the reason I have 5 is because this has 60 teeth and this has 12. So 60 divided by 12 is 5. And so what happens is, as I mentioned, if this turns once, that's going to turn 5 times. And if this turns once, that's going to turn 1/5. So let's go ahead and click 5 and see what happens. And I'm just going to turn this. And it does appear that the other one is turning faster. If you want to change it up, let's say it doesn't work for you. So 1/5 is basically 0.2. And you'll see that it's basically not going to work. So yeah, so this one's spinning a lot faster. And so this is turning one rotation, that's turning 5 times. That's not the way it works. So go back to the 5 to 1 and make it turn correctly. Okay, now we're going to insert the elliptical cam. So go ahead and insert the elliptical cam, and we're going to fasten it to this front axle. We're going to do a little workaround here, a little hack to put it wherever we want, but we want it to turn as the axle turns. So we're going to actually use a slider mate. Okay, so what's a slider mate? Get in on that square right there. Okay, click on that one, and then you're going to go to the end of the axle and click on the center of the axle and make sure it looks okay, and then click All right. What you'll notice is that this elliptical cam can be slid along the axle, and if it rotates, it'll actually rotate the axle. Okay. You should also see that it will not touch the other axle if it rotates. These should be made especially so they're not that big. Okay, now the question is, let's say we want it in a specific spot. All right, so how do we know where do we want it to put it? So we can use a planar mate, and I want everybody to, let's say, put it on 1, 2, 3, 4 over. That's going to be easy for us to remember. So we want it directly under this one right here. All right, so what I'll do is I'll do a planar mate, and my planar mate is right here. All right, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter what plane you use because these are all in the same plane. But we're going to go on this inside plane right here. Okay, click on that, and then we're going to go with orient yourself. We're going to do this plane right here. All right, click OK, or you can click solve and it'll go to where it belongs. Let's see what that looks like. All right, so that should be pretty good. It should not move. Okay, it is stuck along that plane. All right, it's just rotating there. All right, and that is how you put it in a specific spot. All right, we're going to insert a lifter now. So go to the insert and put a lifter in there. These lifters might be a little bit small, so I will probably make some bigger ones to put in the actual copy that you have. And we're going to want to put this lifter, if we look from the top, we're basically going to want to put it right there. All right, that's not going to be too hard. We got the left to right there. So let's go ahead and we're going to do a slider mate, all right, because it's going to slide up and down. And click on the middle of that. Find exactly where the axle is and the elliptical cam, and you're going to get on the middle, use the shift button, and you're going to put it right there. Click OK. All right, and you should see, let's orient this in such a way that we can see that delifter should be right there above the cam. All right, and it's roughly above the cam, and it can go up and down. All right, now this is actually probably should be a little bit more over, and that's okay. Let's see if I can figure out how to do an offset on that one. Okay, I was able to move the planar mate over a little bit so it's slightly centered. What I did is I went to planar mate and I did the offset, and I did very little, 0.03. You might need to do negative depending on which way it's facing. Mine was positive. Click OK, and it should put you roughly centered. Again, this can go up and down right here, and it should be hitting roughly the middle. Okay, next up, we are going to insert the follower. So click on Insert, find the follower. There it is. Put that in the middle somewhere. This one might be, well, we can just try inserting it and then rotating it later. So we're going to do a fasten mate. This one's going to go, it's got a mate connector right there. And we're going to put it right at the bottom of the lifter. So zoom in on that. And now we don't want it facing that way, so let's see if we can rotate it. And that's the way we want it facing. Boom, pretty good. Click out of that fasten mate, and you will see that the follower should go up and down. Terrific. Okay, next up, we're going to attach this follower to the cam, but we need to set the slider mate to not go too far because unfortunately, this will go all the way to the bottom and it'll like basically run all the way through the lifter like that. So we need to set a limit that it only goes up to like, let's say here, I know it's still going through it, but it's not going to go all the way to the bottom. That'll allow it just to ride on the top. So we need to take a look at this slider mate right here and set some limits. So double click on that and you're going to want to click limits. And then we don't know, I mean, this tells you right here that this is the positive direction. So the minimum, let's go with, let's see, I'm not sure if we need to do negative here, but let's try this out real quick. And let's click OK. And so click all right there. And then you'll see that it goes up and, oh, it goes all the way through. So let's see what, okay, so it goes to -4 right there. I think we just want it to go to 4. I'm going to play around with it and I will come back when I figure it out. Okay, I was able to put my limits at 0. So if I click on my slider, the minimum was set at 0, and that only allows it to go there. It goes up and it stops right there. So that's basically what you want. You want it to go a little bit below the lowest point. So let's see if we rotate this. It should be touching that, and it is touching at all times. All right, so that's what you want it to do. Okay, now we're going to push this up and we're going to make a tangent mate right here. So click on the tangent mate. I'm going to click on the bottom surface of this, and you might be able, it might work if you do that. Looks like it doesn't. A lot of things turn red. So we're going to use maybe that face right there. Okay, so I just clicked on that outside, just the ring out here, and looks like it's okay with that. It likes that. And so you have a tangent mate right there. If you spin this, this should work. Okay. You can also do go to one of your revolutes. Actually, doesn't matter which one. Right click on it, and you can click animate. And we're going to click basically single. You can make it a little faster, but that's fine. And it's unable to do that, but we can figure that part out later. It might work for you. Okay. All right, we are going to now insert a bevel gear so you guys can see how to do that. So we'll need 2 of them. So go ahead and click on the insert and one bevel gear and then another. Okay. And we are going to put the bevel gear along the axle here. So let's go ahead and essentially we're going to do a slider mate just like before. Let's click OK on that. Slider mate and get on to the middle of that. Use the shift button and we're going to get to the end of the axle. Let's put on the second axle. Okay. And this is a slider mate. We're going to click OK. So we're not worried about the placement yet because this can basically move up and down the axle there. All right. All right, on the top, you'll see that we essentially have no top part for this for the lifter to go through. So we're going to go ahead and insert the flat bar, and I believe this is the 14-inch flat bar. All right, so insert that guy, and it does look like it crosses there. That is great. Okay, so we're just going to put the flat bar right there. Actually, we can use the 15. So let's put the 15 flat bar in there. That's the better one. All right, so click OK on that one. Looks like we put both of them in there. I'll delete that other one here in a little bit. And you are going to put this bar right there so it is fastened. Okay, you'll need to do this if you want to add any sort of tops for um, your lifters to go through. All right, and that might be going through, so we might need to flip the primary axis, and it looks like we do. So flip the primary axis, and then we're going to rotate until it looks right, and then click OK. All right. And now we're going to basically put an axle, a lifter somewhere. Let's just go ahead and arbitrarily put it right there. So click Insert, and let's just go to a lifter. All right, put that in, and that is an OK orientation. We are going to use this one's going to be a cylindrical mate, okay? And so we're going to have it basically go up and down and revolute. So this one, I'll just click on this one and find wherever I want this. Let's say I want it right here on the flat bar. Click Shift, put it right there, and click OK. All right, if you look at it from check the view cube here and see what this looks like, and you'll see that it'll go up and down, and it'll also rotate. All right, so that's pretty nice. We are going to attach the bottom of the bevel gear to that, and so that is a fasten mate right there. If the axle moves, the bevel gear moves. So I'm going to go on the bottom face right there, and I'm going to put that to the bottom of the axle. I'm sorry, lifter. All right, click OK. And you will see it's almost perfectly set up there. However, we will move that bevel gear so it's in the exact same spot. So it can go up and down. It can rotate. This should be able to rotate, and it is. It can rotate a little bit. And so we're going to move this. We're going to move this over a little bit, and so let's see what we got here. I'm going to figure this out real quick and come back to you guys. Okay, folks, so here's one way to do this. Get in a sort of normal view of it. Normal means 90 degrees, straight on view, and just move it until it gets to where you think it is right. Let's say right about there. And you will need to use a measurement tool. And we're going to measure from this face right here to where we did the slider mate, which was basically the end of the axle. And we'll see it's about, I'm going to say negative 6.5. You can see the green line is going this way. If I highlight this one, there's no distance between the x and the y. So negative 6.5. All right, so we're going to do an offset with that much. However, you're going to see what the problem is here. Do a slider mate. That's slider mate, and you click on offset, and you cannot do an offset in the Z direction, which is the Z direction right here. Why? Because you made it a slider mate. All right, we made it. I told you to make it a slider mate, so it's a slider mate. However, you can easily change that to a fasten mate by clicking the drop-down menu here, and now you're able to move it over that, let's say, -6.5. I like even numbers, and it should go to where it belongs. Let's take a look. That looks pretty good. Click OK. All right, I think it's time to insert a crank to rotate this with, so go ahead and click Insert. And we can use the short flat bar, the shortest one there is. We're going to insert that in there. All right, cool. And we're going to insert the lock bar. All right, didn't come in, so insert the lock bar. I guess I put in 2. And let's go ahead and insert the longest screw in there. And that sounds good. All right, click OK with that. I'm going to delete one of these guys. Okay. And we'll first start by putting the lock bar on whatever axle you want to be your main turning axle. So I'm just going to, again, do a fasten mate. It's going to go basically right at the end. And again, click that. Let's say if you're left-handed, you can put it on that side. If you're right-handed, you can put it on the other side. And I'm just going to put it right directly on this axle. Great. So you're going to see that as this rotates, so it does the rest. Now we're going to put a little bit longer crank on here, which is basically the flat bar. And when you make this, you'll probably put a smaller flat bar. I'm going to put it right in the middle so it doesn't stick out so far. We're going to do a fasten mate, and let's just put this hole right here on the end of the, I'm just going to put it right here on this hole. This one doesn't matter too much. It is flip the primary axis, do that orientation, and we're going to click OK. Now, in reality, you're going to put some screws through here, okay? And however, this is going to help you rotate it. And we're going to do a screw anyway right now to have it stick out so you can basically turn that. And I've put the biggest screw right here, the longest one, and so we'll do that. We're going to do a fasten mate. All right, you're going to do the inside of the screw, go to that mate connector right there, click OK, and we should be able to put it here at the end of this mate connector. If it doesn't work, I'll figure out another solution. And we're going to flip that orientation, and click OK. And that is basically where your hand's going to grab it to rotate this around. All right. Now we can start seeing how things work here. Let's see how things work. You'll see that this rotates. That's terrific. And that one is rotating, but the above one is not rotating. We can make that work easily with a gear ratio. Things are getting pretty long here, but that's okay. This is looking good. You can do a gear ratio between this revolute and the other revolute. And so we need to find that. Where is our first revolute? So we got revolute 2. Oh, we're going to do with the cylindrical. Okay, cylindrical and the revolute 2. And this is a 1-to-1 gear ratio because these are both the same size. Click OK, and let's see how that works right there. All right, you'll see that that spins. All right, terrific. Okay, so what I did was I went in there and made this a little shorter because it was bugging me. So I can show you how to do that real quick because you'll need to know some of these things. Mechanism parts. Ooh, doo, 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 doo. We are in part files. Let's see what we got here. So you got the flat bar. Okay. And with flat bar, you can just basically, well, I made a copy of it, and I extruded it, and then I basically just made a sketch around the part that I wanted to delete. Okay, let's see, where is that sketch? So basically what I did was I made a little sketch right here, and then I did the use project function so I could show everything else. All right, and if you hide the part, you'll see that I have that all illuminated. And then when I finished that sketch, I just did the extrude remove from that part. And so the other part was just left there. So you can definitely make these shorter if you want. That is one way to do it. Okay. Second of all, I did make the lifter smaller as well. Where is that at? Where is my lifter? That is perhaps in the other one. Mechanism parts. Here we go. Nope. Lifter, here it is. So with the lifter, you can just change the extrude however long you want it to be. I changed from 4 to 7. You could just change it to 6, etc., and make it smaller. So you will need to know that because you will want to make your lifters the size that you want. And once you do that, then it automatically changes for the assembly. It changed automatically and it fixed that for me. So I'm able to turn this and everything works the way I want it to work. All right, what I want to do now is I just want to insert some superstructure, and I'll show you how to do that. So I made this really beautiful face here, and I'm going to insert that in here. You will have to do this as well. So we'll insert that beautiful face. This is a self-portrait because, as you can tell, I am an artist, and I can, oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, great. So we're going to insert two of these guys because one's going to rotate and the other one is going to just move around. So one thing you could do is insert a mate connector, and the mate connector didn't come up, but we might be able to fasten this anyway. So we'll do a fasten mate with the center of this, and just put it on any part that you want. Let's say I want this face right here, and I want the top of that. Looks like it didn't work on the other one, so let me try it again. Okay, it's on the lifter right there. I see it there. Now it didn't attach to that one, so let me go back and put it on there. All right, and then that is attached right there. Cool, do it with the next one. All right, put that there, and then I'm going to attach it to, let's say, the top part of that one. And yeah, maybe I want a crooked face. So we'll do that, and then you'll see what is happening here. And let's see how this looks. Oh, yay, that's so nice. It's like lollipop face. Okay, and there's my design. All right, the last thing I want you guys to do is I want you guys to insert screws here. So we're going to insert screws, and this is just like we are building it. We're probably going to do the smallest screws necessary. So we're going to insert a bunch of these guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3, etc. And I'll show you guys where to put these. All right. So the way you insert these guys is fasten mate as well. Pretty straightforward. Go in here, find the main one on that face, click on that, and then you want to insert it where you want it to go. We're going to essentially avoid the nuts on the other side. Um, but we want this to we want the CAD to simulate how it's actually going to be built. That's what I have you put the screws on, and it literally takes you about maybe 5 minutes to put all the screws in. All right, so I'm going to do that and show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, see here I put basically this took me only 5 minutes, so not too much. I put a screw here, a screw there, a screw there, a screw there, and a screw there, and I did it on the other side, and it is good to go. We're going to do a couple more touches and then call this done. I'm not going to put long screws through here because I know you can do that, but I do want us to put shaft collars at the end because that is very important. And after we put the shaft collars in, you're gonna call this done and submit it. So let's just do shaft collars on one side just to make things very simple for us. And you don't have shaft collars in here, so let me put some in here and I will be right back. Okay, so the shaft collars are in here. We're just gonna put 2 of them. 1, 2, no biggie. And then we are going to fasten these. We're just gonna basically fasten them to the outside, but they will be fastened to this and then shifted in. So um, that's going to be fine. And let's see if I can do, we can't do the sphere of that circle, so I'm going to do that one. And I'm going to do that one right there. Let's flip the orientation so it looks good and good to go. Then we'll do one more. Let's do that circle. Okay. And we will do that circle right there. Make sure it goes. And oh, what I wanted to do, I wanted to flip the orientation. So let's go ahead and flip the orientation. And we are done. Okay. Looks good. You'll notice that when I turn these, the shaft collars don't turn, and they should. All right. So in the real one, they're going to turn. Okay, so this is your final product. This is what you will make. All right. To make your own, I will give you the whole base plate, but I want you guys to practice putting together. This should rotate, and it does. That's terrific. Once you're done with that, submit it on Canvas, and good to go.